Democratic senator from California, Alex Padilla. He's the ranking member on the Rules Administration Committee, and he's also a member of the Judiciary and Budget Committees. Senator, thanks so much for being with us.
Good morning, Michelle. Great to be with you.
Senator, first, I'd like to get your reaction to the latest comments from President Trump regarding the Signal group chat. He dismissed this as fake news. We've heard him say things like that before, and he doesn't seem interested in holding anyone responsible for this. What are your thoughts about this question that there might not be any accountability?
Yeah, well, a couple of things, Michelle. First, we will continue to demand accountability because the stakes of a mistake like this puts so many lives at risk, the lives of servicewomen and men that could have been undermined if the sensitive classified communications via commercially available app would have been compromised. So they're trying to underplay it because, of course, Trump never accepts a loss and never accepts accountability. The other question, and I think most of America agrees with me on this, is what happened to the guy who made a living on "you're fired"? He used to love firing people for show and attention, and now when a situation calls for it, what's he afraid of, or who is he afraid of, is maybe another question.
You know, there's been reporting on his deliberation over this. Should he fire Walz, for instance, or maybe shouldn't he fire him? What are the appropriate next steps? Who, if anyone, should be held specifically accountable for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Walz is obvious. To make such a simple mistake calls into question the competency, not just of the individual, but the cabinet and the administration. In my opinion, Secretary Hegseth has to go. Again, a complete lack of judgment to put this type of information on a signal chain. Not a surprise to me or most of my colleagues on the Democratic side who voted against the confirmation. So if you keep chasing down accountability, at some point you also come back to Senate Republicans who are still willing to go along with whatever President Trump wants. And not only do they support him in his election, they've supported his cabinet, which is clearly incompetent, unprepared to lead, putting the lives of not just American service members at risk, but jeopardizing our own national security. When are they going to step up and draw a line here?
Senator, I want to turn to tariffs. The president has already imposed a series of tariffs that have made a lot of people wary about the country's economic outlook. In a few days, the White House will unveil even more tariffs on a variety of products. What do you make of this administration's approach to holding on to the idea of imposing even more tariffs when the public seems very uncomfortable with this?
Yeah, the country is very uncomfortable because guess who ultimately pays the price for this reckless policy making and, frankly, policy whiplash that's been coming out of the second Trump administration since day one. There's nobody I've heard that has suggested that this initiation of tariff wars is good economic policy, and it's certainly not the way to bring down prices for working families. Look, as a father of three, after this interview, I'm headed to the grocery store. So you don't need to ask me about the price of eggs or the price of milk or the price of meat. I know it's very real. But that's why I think, issues like Signal Gates, other crises of this administration, the indiscriminate firings, the DOJ undermining of our privacy and security of our personal data, Trump loves it because it keeps the attention off his failure to address economic issues. Working families are paying more today than they were when he became president. And if you look at what's happening with the stock market, our pensions, our 401ks are worth less than they were at the beginning of the Trump administration. It's an absolute failure, but we're going to continue to push back and fight every step of the way.
Yeah, if you checked your numbers, your 401k on Friday may have looked like a 301k. Senator, you've been traveling recently. You and four of your colleagues just got back from a visit to Guantanamo Bay. That's where this administration has been holding some migrants. In a joint letter, you and your colleagues wrote, quote, "It is obvious that Guantanamo Bay is a likely illegal and certainly illogical location to detain immigrants." Can you tell us a little bit more about what you observed on your trip?
Yeah, look, we understand there's a large detention, deportation operations going on, but we also know that there's a law by which that has to comply. When we have ICE facilities in the United States, you ensure that the conditions there meet certain standards. That's not what's happened at Guantanamo Bay because it's on foreign soil, number one. So there's no clear authority for having this outside the United States. Number two, in order to execute this mission at Guantanamo Bay, it's cost us an enormous amount of taxpayer dollars. Think about military flights, the deployment of military personnel to hold very small numbers of migrants there. And by the way, they seem to be split into two different areas of the base. There's a low-level area and a high-risk, high-level offender area. I thought we were only going after violent criminals. If we're only going after violent criminals, why are we housing low-level offenders in a way that costs us millions and millions and millions of dollars when it can and should be done much more cost-effectively on U.S. soil? And let alone the pivoting away. The service members that we talked to had been taken from other important missions, other critical missions, and redirected here. So our readiness is being undermined through this hugely expensive operation that's serving no purpose other than giving the president a soundbite. Taxpayers, the American public deserves better.
Do you understand why the president is committed to continuing to use Guantanamo Bay specifically? There's been so much controversy over Guantanamo Bay over years now.
Yeah, and if nothing else, just the sheer cost of this mission, of this operation. All I can think of is he wants to be able to use it as a talking point. He wants the soundbite because of what people think of when they hear Guantanamo Bay, from a practical purposes standpoint, from a security standpoint, certainly from a government efficiency and taxpayer dollar standpoint. It makes absolute zero sense. So we're going to continue to press. We're going to continue to demand accountability. And Michelle, absolute shame that we had to travel. The 5 senators that went on this trip had to travel to Guantanamo to begin to get answers to questions that we've been asking the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Defense for months and months and months now.
Senator Padilla, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate that you took the time on a Sunday morning to join us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.